John Michael Ozzy Osbourne, born in Aston, Birmingham, in 1948, has left this world at the age of 76. Widely hailed as the Prince of Darkness, he was a pioneering force in the birth of heavy metal as lead singer of Black Sabbath, a successful solo artist whose theatrical stagecraft and raw vocal style defined generations of rock music, and an unlikely reality television star whose family's chaotic life was broadcast to millions. His overnight passing, following a protracted battle with Parkinson's disease and the cumulative effects of decades of hard living, has prompted a global outpouring of grief and celebration. Less than 3 weeks ago, he took the stage one last time at Villa Park in Birmingham, reuniting with his original Black Sabbath bandmates for a career-capping concert that was as poignant as it was triumphant. This feature reflects on Ozzy's life, from his humble beginnings to his final bow, and examines the indelible mark he left on music and culture. The Final Bow. Back to the beginning in Birmingham. On July 5, 2025, Ozzy Osbourne made what would become his swan song appearance at Villa Park, the storied football ground in his hometown of Birmingham. Branded the Back to the Beginning concert, the event marked the first time Ozzy had shared a stage with Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward since their last reunion tour in 2005. Despite visible frailty, his microphone often cradled by a stand, his movements cautious, Ozzy's voice soared through a selection of Black Sabbath classics and his own solo anthems. The setlist opened with the brooding dirge of Black Sabbath, proceeded through War Pigs and Paranoid, and then shifted to solo hits Crazy Train and No More Tears. The emotional peak came with the ballad Mama, I'm Coming Home, and Sabbath's reflective Changes, a fitting capstone to a career built on both ferocity and vulnerability. At the concert's close, Ozzy raised his arms in a final salute and whispered, "Thank you, Birmingham," before exiting to thunderous applause. Many in the 40,000-strong crowd sensed it was the end of an era, even if they didn't know it would also be Ozzy's last time under the stage lights. Global tributes, fellow musicians and fans mourn. Within hours of the announcement of Ozzy's death, tributes poured in from every corner of the music world. Pearl Jam guitarist Mike McCready tweeted, "Sad to hear Ozzy died today. When I was in high school, I discovered Sabbath. War Pigs was terrifying and mesmerizing at the same time. Thanks for the music, Ozzy, it makes our journey in life better." Elton John described Ozzy as, "the funniest person I ever met, a dear friend and huge trailblazer who secured his place in the pantheon of rock gods. True legend." Metallica paid homage with a single broken heart emoji, as if words could not capture their sorrow. In Birmingham, fans gathered at the city's now famous Black Sabbath bench, once a quiet memorial spot, now draped in flowers, candles, and handwritten notes. Local supporters, many still sporting accents that Ozzy never abandoned, lined the streets, sharing memories of the first time they heard Iron Man on the radio or caught Black Sabbath at a gritty club show in the early 1970s. One fan remarked, "He never ditched Birmingham, he was still a Brummie through and through." Their collective grief was tempered by gratitude, for the music, the memories, and the knowledge that Ozzy had gone out on his own terms. Humble beginnings, from school dropout to pub singer. Born into a working-class family, John Michael Osbourne was the son of Jack and Lillian Osbourne. He attended Broadway school in Aston but struggled academically and socially, leaving formal education at the age of 15. Jobs as a plumber's apprentice, toolmaker, and slaughterhouse worker failed to galvanize his ambition. A brief stint in juvenile detention for burglary underscored the aimlessness of his youth. Music, however, provided direction. Absorbing the sounds of American blues records and the British beat bands of the mid-1960s, young John found a sense of belonging on Birmingham's pub circuit. His raw, distinctive voice set him apart, while his schoolyard nickname, Ozzy, stuck as his moniker. By 1968, he had joined a nascent group called Earth, signaling the start of a musical journey that would transform both his life and the wider cultural landscape. Forging heavy metal, the birth of Black Sabbath. Earth's transition to Black Sabbath in late 1969 was as much aesthetic as nominal. Inspired by a Boris Karloff horror film poster, the band embraced darkness, both in lyrical themes and sonic texture. Tony Iommi's down-tuned, heavy riffs wove together with Geezer Butler's ominous bass lines and Bill Ward's thunderous drumming, creating a sound that stood in stark contrast to the psychedelic psychedelia of the era. February 1970 saw the release of their self-titled debut album, introducing tracks like Black Sabbath and NIB that would become foundational to the nascent heavy metal genre. Later that year, Paranoid delivered global anthems Iron Man, War Pigs, and Paranoid, propelling Sabbath to the forefront of rock music. Though critics initially derided their demonic imagery, fans embraced the cathartic energy of their live shows, and the band's influence spread like wildfire, inspiring countless imitators, none of whom could match the authenticity of the original quartet. Solo Reinvention, a new era of Ozzy. Ozzy's tumultuous exit from Black Sabbath in 1979, precipitated by spiraling substance abuse and internal strife, could have spelled the end of his career. Instead, it marked the dawn of his greatest reinvention. Under the stewardship of Sharon Arden, daughter of manager Don Arden and later his wife, Ozzy launched his solo effort Blizzard of Oz in 1980. Teaming with virtuoso guitarist Randy Rhoads, bassist Bob Daisley, and drummer Lee Kerslake, he unleashed Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley, songs that blended Rhodes's neoclassical licks with Ozzy's charismatic persona. Diary of a Madman, 1981, followed, further cementing Ozzy's solo credentials. Despite continued battles with addiction, his headline-grabbing antics included biting the head off a bat and snorting ants through a straw when supplies ran low. His music retained a compelling blend of theatricality and raw emotion. Through the 1980s and 1990s, albums such as No More Tears and Bark at the Moon spawned hits that crossed over from metal charts into mainstream rock radio, expanding his audience well beyond the devout Sabbath faithful. Offstage and on-screen. The Osbournes phenomenon. By the early 2000s, Ozzy sought to reclaim his personal life from the relentless gyre of rock tours. MTV's The Osbournes, 2002 to 2005, granted viewers unprecedented access to the Osbourne household, Ozzy's malapropisms, Sharon's acerbic wit, and the teenage dramas of Kelly and Jack. The series became a cultural touchstone, winning an Emmy for Outstanding Reality Program and spawning a legion of imitators in celebrity reality TV. Purists initially scoffed, decrying the sellout, but many fans appreciated the candid portrait of a family banded together through decades of chaos. The show revealed Ozzy's vulnerabilities, a father missing milestone moments, a husband reliant on Sharon's managerial acumen, a man grappling with the consequences of fame. It also introduced him to a new generation, many of whom would later explore his music and discover the force behind the persona. Health battles, ATV accident and Parkinson's. Despite the veneer of invincibility, Ozzy's body bore the marks of a lifetime of extremes. In 2003, he suffered a near-fatal ATV accident on his Southern California estate, fracturing his neck, back, and shoulder. Multiple surgeries followed, along with months of painful rehabilitation. Yet the most profound blow came in 2020, when he revealed a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, a progressive neurological disorder that impaired his motor skills and speech. Ozzy confronted his condition with characteristic candor, sharing details of tremors, medication regimens, and grueling physical therapy. He joked about being an old man hopping around, even as Parkinson's gradually curtailed his mobility. But music remained his lifeblood. His No More Tours 2 Global Odyssey, launched in 2022, saw him defy expectations, performing across 4 continents, seated on a throne for support but delivering vocals that still carried the raw edge fans craved. The impact of Prince of Darkness. Ozzy's legacy transcends his formidable discography. As a vocalist, he expanded rock's expressive range, his trademark timbre shifting effortlessly from childlike wonder to anguished howl. As a frontman, he fused horror theatrics with a genuine love for performance, influencing stagecraft in metal, rock, and beyond. As a public figure, he embodied rock and roll's defiance, battling addiction, surviving near-death experiences, and confronting degenerative illness, all while retaining an almost childlike sense of wonder and mischief. His influence is evident in the riffs of modern sludge, doom, and alternative metal bands, in the shock rock antics of artists from Marilyn Manson to Ghost, and in the proliferation of reality TV shows that trace their lineage back to the Osbournes. His collaborations with contemporary stars, Post Malone, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, underscored an artist unbound by age or genre, ever willing to explore new creative avenues. Legacy and final resting place. Ozzy Osbourne's death has left a void in the fabric of popular music. His family announced that he died surrounded by love, with Sharon and their children at his side. Plans for a public memorial in Birmingham, a fitting tribute in the city where it all began, are expected to draw tens of thousands of mourners. In the meantime, fans worldwide have taken to streaming platforms. Black Sabbath's back catalog saw a surge in plays, while Ozzy's solo anthems once again blared from radios and digital playlists. Statues, murals, and impromptu shrines have appeared in cities from Los Angeles to Tokyo, each a testament to the global reach of his art. Guitarists young and old have picked up instruments to learn Sabbath riffs, while music critics acknowledge that heavy metal, once dismissed as a fringe phenomenon, would never have become a worldwide cultural force without Ozzy's singular contributions.